It's been a tough week for the NFL community after one of its players, Damar Hamlin, collapsed mid-match and had to be revived on the field. At a time like this, friends and foes alike have come together to join their hands in prayer for the athlete's recovery. You'd think it's hard to emerge as the villain in a situation like this, since it's not hard sending some good wishes to an injured player, right? Enter Skip Bayless. First off, Sharp is furious over Bayless's insensitivity. The 71-year-old drew backlash from the entire NFL community after he tweeted out an insensitive comment while everyone had nothing but kind words and support for Hamlin and his family. After the game was called off following Hamlin's collapse, Bayless seemed to be more worried about the canceled game and how the league would handle a postponement so late into the season rather than about the player's health. No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how? Bayless tweeted. This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. After facing immense criticism, he later apologized, calling it a misunderstanding, trying to make up by saying nothing was more important than the young man's health and that his tweet was taken out of context. Bayless is known for his strange and controversial opinions, but has he gone too far this time? His actions even made Shannon Sharpe, his co-host, take a day off from their show, Undisputed. While Sharpe soon returned, it seems he reached his breaking point. The duo, Sharpe and Bayless, are known as one of the most entertaining pairs of analysts on television and have consistently bickered and argued over several stories, always ending with them making up the next moment. But after his co-star crossed the line with his comments, Sharpe had had enough. After Bayless interrupted him mid-conversation, the former Denver Broncos player had used up the last remaining bits of his patience. Next up, NFL legend loses patience over Damar Hamlin's comment. This was Sharpe's last straw. The NFL legend returned to Undisputed after being absent for the previous episode and started to explain his absence before starting the show. He also mentioned the Damar Hamlin situation, saying it was hard for him to even watch the accident since it brought back flashes of what happened to his brother. What's more, he also pointed out Bayless's tweet, adding that he completely disagreed with it and that he had hoped Bayless would have the sense to take it down. The basketball pundit, on the other hand, had other plans, jumping in to say that he stands by his decision. Sharpe was not having it this time, completely giving up in frustration. Stunned by the 71-year-old's lack of empathy, he stated how irritated he was that Bayless wouldn't even let him finish his sentence. Bayless countered by saying he wasn't notified that his tweets would be brought up in the show, saying no one had a problem with them. But when Sharpe pointed out that the bosses wanted him to explain, Bayless completely denied that happening. Refusing to acknowledge his post, he avoided the topic by continuing with the show. But Sharpe wasn't done yet. When Hamlin came up once again, he made sure his co-host was aware of his dissatisfaction, mentioning that the focus should have never shifted to the game when a player's life was in question. Anyone with a brain has the sense to side with the Broncos tight end. Honestly, Skip Bayless seems to just keep digging a deeper hole for himself. Moving on, here's the update on Hamlin's recovery. The Buffalo Bills team confirmed on social media that Hamlin went through a cardiac arrest after he was hit in the game against the Bengals. Fortunately, his heartbeat was restored on the field, and he was transferred to the local hospital for further testing and treatment and listed in critical condition. The 24-year-old had to be administered CPR, and medical personnel appeared to give him oxygen before the ambulance transported him to the local University of Cincinnati Medical Center. ESPN reported that Hamlin's parents were brought down from the stands to accompany him on the journey to the hospital. As reported by his marketing representative, Jordan Ronnie, Hamlin was intubated, but his vitals returned to normal about an hour and a half after the incident. The collapse was shocking to everyone, with players from both teams kneeling on the field, with multiple Bills players moved to tears while the medical staff worked on Hamlin. Thankfully, he's been discharged after being treated for nearly a week at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center after his collapse on the field and will be continuing his rehab at home. For now, cardiac specialists say it's too soon to know what caused Hamlin to suffer a cardiac arrest, but one of the possibilities is a rare type of trauma to the heart called commotio cordis. Doctors said Hamlin had been undergoing therapy and that he was on what medical professionals say is a very normal or even accelerated trajectory in his recovery, considering he suffered from cardiac arrest. Now for the NFL's impressive unity in this situation. Much to their credit, the entire NFL community has come together and offered their unwavering support to Hamlin's family. Fellow players like Josh Allen, LeBron James, and others joined in asking for players while Hamlin remained in critical condition. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Fields, J.J. Watt, and more also contributed to sending out prayers via social media. In a statement shared by Jordan Rooney, Hamlin's marketing representative, the family was incredibly thankful for the NFL's support during this time. They expressed their gratitude for the love and support everyone showed to Damar and said that they were extremely moved by the prayers, kind words, and donations from fans around the country. Let's be honest for a second. Hamlin's pretty much a newbie, a regular second-year, sixth-round draft choice who was slowly building up his reputation as a force on the field, but his injury affected a lot of players because it was extremely unexpected. Hamlin seemed perfectly fine. At first, it was doubtful whether the NFL would even suspend the game, especially with the critical playoff implications. But as surprising as it was, everyone was on the same page and seemed to agree that calling the game off was the right decision. By not moving on with the game, the Buffalo Bills may have set a new path for the upcoming matches, one that prioritizes its players' health and well-being above all else. Besides that, the entire NFL community, while praying for Hamlin, has simultaneously taken out time to pelt Bayless with disapproving comments, some even saying he should be fired. They go both ways. Moving on, Skip Bayless sparks widespread backlash. First off, the NFL community's reaction to Bayless. The unanimous criticism has come flowing since the tweet, and honestly, Bayless had it coming for him. NFL players, including Jets cornerback Sauce Gardner, fired back at the Fox host, saying it was insane that he was even mentioning the game while Damar's health was all that mattered. More pro athletes, including free agent NBA point guard Isaiah Thomas and ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins, continued to express their displeasure, calling him a sick individual. Following the tweet, former Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Dez Bryant, Isaiah Thomas, and Kendrick Perkins were some of those who lashed out at the host of Skip and Shannon Undisputed, calling him a sick individual and saying Fox Sports 1 should fire Bayless. Bryant called on to cancel Bayless, sharing several tweets slamming him. Hall of Fame wide receiver Terrell Owens responded to Bayless's tweet on Instagram, calling it the most despicable thing ever, and that he hoped he got fired. Former NBA champion Matt Barnes also commented under Owens' post, writing that someone needs to teach the Undisputed host a lesson. Michael Strahan joined the others in sharing his thoughts on Bayless's tweet, calling his reaction inhumane. He continued saying that it was an insensible thing to say and anyone with some sense would understand that their words would impact Hamlin's family. Next up, Bayless's apology. This isn't the first time Shannon and Bayless have heated up in an argument. Even though Sharp is usually more patient, it seems like with personal trauma attached to the incident, he doesn't have tolerance for his partner's opinions. He isn't the only one who's agitated at Bayless. After he appeared on Undisputed without his co-host Shannon Sharp, Bayless tried to apologize again, but it doesn't seem like he's regretful about his tweet at all. He said that he was still pretty shaken by what happened to Hamlin, and that he was sorry if the fact that they were carrying on without the show's schedule offended anyone. As wrecked as he claimed he wasn't sure whether he'd be able to do the show, but he said he decided he'd give it a try. He added that he had to wrestle with the idea through the night because the last thing they wanted is to come off as insensitive while Hamlin was going through a life or death situation. He also said that they were going to continue with the show, discussing a few sports, but would also continue to talk about what happened to the 25-year-old to try to sort through it. He may be apologetic, but it's certainly not about his problematic tweets, that's for sure. Lastly, Bayless addresses the criticism. As the segment went along, he did eventually address the tweet, but still wouldn't acknowledge the part where he was wrong, calling his tweet misconstrued. As per Awful Announcing, he said he believed that his tweet was widely misinterpreted. He said he didn't know what happened, but after the post, his boss at Fox called and told him that people weren't reacting well to his tweet and that he should clarify what he meant. He explained that the point he tried to get across was that it's very difficult to postpone such an important game this late in the season, and yet it was all suddenly irrelevant. For the first time in the history of the NFL, the game didn't matter due to what was happening on the football field in front of all those football players. They were shaken to their foundations. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Bayless's intentions or his apology were genuine? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. See you at the next one.